You know, there really isn't much stopping me from making that. Because I do want it, and I think it would look pretty cool on my wall. Plus, she'd be fun to cosplay at some point, right? Right? I think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it! Let's make it together, shall we?
Well, hi there. So, I wanted to give a brief explanation about how I went about doing basically the tracing for this. Um, More or less the breakdown of it. So I started off by making sure I got all of the different pieces, and I'm actually separating them out onto different layers, which is not something you can really see on this because Procreate doesn't show that. But here, you can see how there are some that are jagged edges. Those are the under layers. Okay, so now that we've taken our printouts, or our design, and made it into printouts, I will have this as an available printout on my coffee for free so that you guys don't have to go through it. What I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to quickly overlay all of the lines that are a little bit covered up, and then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper and actually transfer off some of these designs so that I can just basically quickly copy them without worrying about ruining this one, so I still have the base that I can, I guess, go back to if I need to figure out proportions or dimensions or whatnot. So let me quickly show you how to do that. Okay, so this process is really quite simple. You need your design. It does not matter. It just needs to be printed in black ink on a piece of paper. Then you need parchment. I prefer parchment over wax. And a fine liner. I have multiple colors. I'm using the Prismacolors, and so we got Prismacolor, fine liners. I've got 2 colors of these guys, and I've got just a Spectrum Noir artist one that I got years ago. Basically, you can already see it, is that you can see the pattern completely through the paper. What I'm literally going to do is just trace it on. So any section that I'm like, yep, I want to have an extra pattern for that, I'm just literally going to do this. And just copy the pattern over, making sure you can see that. So, if you have tracing paper, use the tracing paper. It will make your life easier. But I don't like spending money on products that I'm only going to use for like a handful of things. But I've got parchment paper in the kitchen. And so I'll go through this. Probably gonna quickly swap to one of the thicker ones because that is a 0.05. That's gonna take a while. This is a 0.8, not 3, 8. I can read. And I'm literally just gonna trace this. It's not going to be the smoothest thing in the world. It's going to be a bit tricky in spots, but it will give you a full, complete stencil. There we go. But I can now cut out a foam. I can now cut this out, and I just have that one section without having to worry about anything else. That's just how simple it is. And now basically what I'm going to do is slide it over and do the next section, and slide it over and do the next section. And basically I'm going to do that for a bunch of these different pieces, not everything, but a lot of the ones that are down here at the base, because this is very layered. Like, we're talking, this section alone is like 4 layers, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have all of this. That's why I showed that I flattened that portion of my microphone, or not my microphone, goodness, the pole that I'm using. I flattened that top portion because I don't want to have all that extra depth on this section of it. Basically, removing the depth immediately before adding on the foam that's going to put it back. So it's not the easiest trick in the book, but it's a very cheap and easy solution for going about getting something this patterned and like this detailed without really worrying about it, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I'm going to spend the next probably hour doing that. I think I might time lapse it. I might not. We'll see. But yeah, here we go. Okay, I may have gotten a bit ahead of myself. So I took my 2mm foam and I cut out all the pieces that I had traced onto the parchment paper. So I've cut them all out, even right down to the wings. which are this set here at the bottom. I've got this and then all of this details all cut out. I haven't started on these wings, this part, excuse me, and this, and the actual microphone bit. The microphone bit's going to be cut out of pink insulation foam. I've got just this last bit of scrap laying around, and I would like to use it up. It just happens to be a really good depth for what I want to do, so I'm going to cut two basically pucks out of this. I've got my stencil going for there, and then I have the thicker foam that I've previously used for the wooden pieces on the Hermit Permit. I will be using those for these wings here because they need a little bit more carvable details, and then I will be using a slightly thinner foam that I have laying around to do this arc top bit. I'm gonna go from there, and then I've got to figure out at some point how I'm going to do these stars, if I want to do them out of foam or if I want to try and cast them out of foam clay to keep them nice and lightweight. I haven't fully decided yet. It's one of those things where I'm not worried about it at this moment. I don't have to worry about it this moment. I can just kind of go about it so far. These are like a last stitch material. This on the front here, I will be doing it, the top detailing, out of the 2mm craft foam. I'm just out of high density 2mm foam at the moment, so craft foam is a decent substitution. It's not the best in the world, but it will do. So yeah, basically that's what I'm going to go about at this part. I'm going to reassemble all of these together. Basically, once this layers together, it actually forms like all of the details down here. And then I just need to piece them together to get to the actual point. So this one is going to need to be make into a diamond point, so I need to actually build this side up a little bit more. Let's see if I can bring you guys on a little bit closer. There you go. Basically, this is going to need to be built up a little bit more, and then I've got the fans that I'm just going to like piece together. So I've got like the top one. I think this is the middle or the bottom. I can't remember. I think it's the bottom. So it'd be that, and then something like that, and then like the top one over top kind of deal. I am still piecing everything together, so it will be easier to show once I like actually have it pieced together and on the pole. And then the wings, I've got two, and I'll explain that in just a second of why I got two cutouts. So basically the wings are going to go underneath. So I've got two cutouts because getting something super thin with foam, it means it's going to be super flimsy without it being like a pink foam, pink insulation foam. What I'm going to do is I am going to take some of my wire, and so this is just like this is galvanized wire. Basically I'll be taking this and putting it underneath, like putting it in between the foam layers, so that I've got, one, a little bit more control, but two, a little bit more stability in these parts where I don't have to worry about them. I do plan on putting a top layer, so another additional layer of foam on top of these parts here, top of the upper portion of the wings, to be able to get this additional definition right here. But even that, it still won't give the structuralness that I'm hoping that this will have, but it will still allow it to be super lightweight without risking, say, if I were to whack it on something, it's going to break. No, it's just going to bend and kind of move out of the way. So that's what I'm going to go about doing. I'm not quite sure which part I'm going to start with right now. It's really nice outside, so I kind of want to get something that's going to be a little bit messy done, which is probably going to be this guy, so I can do it outside with my shop vac instead of having to do it in my studio at my desk. So I think I'm going to get started on that one, and I'll catch up with you guys when I've got a little bit more progress made. I may have accidentally jumped ahead again. So currently we are on the microphone bit. What I've done is I've used contact cement to stick these parts together so that it's like a permanent bond. I'm also doing the same for these two pieces over here. That will be the bulk on this midsection because it bulks. Where is my guide? Here it is. Because it bulks out a bit and then goes back down. So between those two pieces, it will be just enough bulk for this midsection here. And then I can start layering on all of the little bits that are all glued together. And then once it's all glued together, I can then put on the nicer pieces. Yep. So let's put this off to the side. I'll cut out all that extra. Anyways, so we've got the wings here. These are the underneath wings on this section here. I haven't actually gotten to cutting these guys out yet. I'll be doing that in the next little bit once all of this is ready to go. And basically what these will be is that I can adjust them, kind of flex them out a little bit more to position them in a way so that they sit, that they're actually curved. There we go, ever so slightly, because they've got, as you can tell, a wire running through it. It's actually more evident on camera than in person that there's a wire. Like, see how it is on this side? That's what it looks like for me for this side. This wire is not as evident as it is on camera. And then once it's painted and beveled and whatnot, it will be even more hidden. So I'm not worried about that. Plus, I know, honestly, I don't plan on taking up close pictures with this. I think the videos might be as close as we get. So we'll have these guys will be the first layer. Then we'll have the wings. And then we'll have all of these little bits. And then this guy will sit on top. And I'll add in foam to fill in like gaps and whatnot. But also remember, like, this is sitting on a flat surface, whereas that's a pole. So there will be a difference in how this will sit. Plus, I will then take my heat gun to it and I will shape these a little bit more so they have more of the definition. So one other thing. Tracking turn of events, I got Robin. You can see that there is some definition to this point here. It does pull out a little bit more, so I want to make sure I can get that. Plus, I need to be able to make the definition for all these diamonds and stars up here. So, plus there's the ones on the back that are a duplicate of this, so I figured with that mold, I got these. This is actually a fondant mold, but you can use any of these like silicone molds for working with foam clay. And basically I'm going to fill some of these like triangular bits here that will give me additional definition on the points of it, because very specifically this one, I can make a whole bunch of these and basically use them to build up this. So yeah, I think it will be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just a matter of keeping at it. I give a progress update because I don't know how much more I'm going to get done the rest of the night, mostly because, and I don't know if you can hear it in the background, I wanted to try and beat the story. So I'm at this point, I've got some of the details on. I believe the wings are next, but I kind of have to load the game because I don't remember if the wings are next or if I have to cut off or cut out the back set that needs to go on first, or if I need to do this first, but I know this goes on top. So I need the model again, so I'm pulling it back up. So yeah, I've also decided I'm going to throw in the clip of my wishes at the end of the video. So if anybody wants to see how that went, because it was a ride, you'll enjoy it because it was kind of funny how it worked out. So yeah, right now I've got all this put on here. Don't worry, I plan on smoothing this all out. Oh goodness, focus, there we go. I plan on smoothing all of this out with some foam clay afterwards. I just want to get everything layered on, because if I've got to build up a little bit of foam clay, easier to know where I need to fill it in afterwards. I've already got some here to add just a little bit more of the connection between the actual microphone head and the stand. I also discovered something, because I'm someone with a disability and I am seated a lot. If I have this seated on the ground, it actually comes to like exactly where my mouth is. So it's the perfect height for being seated, and I didn't realize it until I just did a test fit of a couple of pieces. So yeah. One tip, if you're following my pattern, like this pattern, to cut this out, cut the inner details before you cut the actual shape out. It will make it a lot easier when cutting this out of foam. I've also found that I still gotta sand this down, so don't worry about it too much. It's also gonna be beveled. Another reason why that hasn't been done, because I'm just gonna sand them all at the same time. So yeah, that's how it's going. I've also got it, and I forgot to show this when I was bending it. I also have it at just an ever so slight angle. And it's because the mic actually bends backwards or bends away from her. So I got it to actually do that. So basically let's just show it on this end. So it's a tube on this end. What I've done is I've actually flattened it, and I've kind of jammed it into the center of the circle. So it's actually jammed about 1/2 inch into this. And focus, thank you. It's jammed about 1/2 inch into here, giving me the nice lip without it being super it needs to be more stable, I'll be quite honest. I need to pack more glue into it, but that's what it's at right now. I really like the angle it's at. Don't judge the choppiness. I only had one blade left, and I kind of did what I had to do. So trying to do this with stuff I already had on hand. The only thing I've bought so far are blades. So doing pretty good on that one so far. But yeah, that is where we are currently at. This is day 3, I think, of like fully actually working on it. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get all the wings and everything assembled tonight so we can spray paint it tomorrow. So let's see how far we get tonight. Okay, so new day. I have cut out everything out of foam. That foam, it's pretty thick. Here's my roll of masking tape for size comparison. It's pretty thick. So my hand hurts right now. So it might be a bit before I can continue on. I just have the rest of the pieces kind of laid out so I can figure out the placing and whatnot and how I want to go about it, because I'm going to have to fill in some of these areas on the side here with foam clay. But yeah, that's how we're looking so far. I still have to do the stars and then the backing. But yeah, that's where we are. The wings actually look really good right now. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. So it's just gotta keep at it. I do need to fix this, this one corner right here, because this cut, you can really see it from the front, so I really need to make sure I sand that down nicely. I'm probably gonna like curve it around the back to make sure that like get the nice solid disc in the front, and then it curves around back to where that little, I don't know what I would call that detailing is, but like the detail on the back. But yeah, these are made out of a bit of a thicker foam, just because they honestly need it for the shape. I've got a little bit of the shape going with the way I was able to cut it out. But yeah, and then this one is made out of just a slightly thinner foam. I'm going to heat shape this one so it has the right curve, because it does ever so slightly curve like this, because it sits up. So basically it's like a wishbone. It's very wishbone-esque. So, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. And honestly, my hand still hurts from cutting these out. Oh, cutting high density foam with a not as great knife as I wish I had, because I'm using a dollar store knife because I can't find my Olfa. So my blades aren't the greatest, but I'm making do. Really making do. I'm very tempted of going to the store and buying more blades right now. That's where we're at. But I have my Dremel, and I'm going to Dremel it down a little bit and hope that works out a little bit more. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Right, so I've now taken the white foam and I have did a first layer of sanding on it. I still have to do a refinement layer. Don't worry, I know. I still have to add the stars onto the halo. And yeah, I've got a couple little more details I'm going to add in, and then I still have to do the beveling work with those guys on here. And then I need to add the secondary handle, but I like having just the blank pole right now. It's making my life very easy. So I've got it all taped up for tonight so that it will kind of dry and set into place that I want it to. And then from there, I'm going to see what spot I'm at in the morning. And I'm hoping to be able to get this finally primed and ready to go, because like from a distance she's looking too good. I'm aware that this one offset, I didn't fully set it properly when I actually put it down on the contact cement, and contact cement is like a permanent bond once you put it down. So this one's going to be a little off-centered, but you know what, I don't really care. This is for me. If it were client work, different story. I probably would have remade this part. This one I'm adding on a beveled little gem, And then I will be adding on up here the little hooks onto the ends that are like the little points that hold the microphone in place. I've got like mock-ups for those down here to get an idea of what I want to do. And then I've got that, and then it's just prime and paint, which painting is going to be super easy in comparison to how long it takes for me to wait for this freaking contact cement to dry. Contact cement takes a little bit longer to dry when you're working with foam than it does normally, because it does absorb a little bit into the material. Sometimes I end up having to do even 2 coats. So it does take a little bit longer. I won't lie, this side kind of came out a little bit better. Little bit better. So I don't know. I like it so far. I'm really excited. It will definitely be done in time for Fan Expo, because I'm not going to Anime North this year. But yeah, I can't wait yet. And don't worry, I've got like all the bevels going and whatnot. Everything's kind of tilted in the direction it needs to go. It's got all the bulk built up. This will be sanded down a little bit more once it dries and cures, because right now it just kind of needs to cure. So, but yeah, I've got foam clay all in my gaps, which the tutorial for foam clay should actually be coming out either right before or right after this video. So yeah, basically I've been using it to like build up thickness in areas where it's like it kind of needs it a little bit more, or I just need to like smooth out between parts, or later on I'll be using it to like fill in gaps in the back here, because as you can tell there's still a bunch of gaps, but I also haven't done the ornamentation on the back here. That I'm gonna basically completely make out of foam clay and just pop it on the back, you know? But I'm gonna paint it separately, so I'll glue it on the back after it's been painted. It's probably gonna be easier on my part. So yeah, that's where we're at. As you can tell, my pattern has seen days, but I keep this one flat on my desk because I keep going back to it so I can line up my measurements to it. And so I can make sure everything still lines up, or as best as I can. So yeah, now it's stuck. All right, I'm gonna cut it here while I struggle with this.
Jumping in with a little part here, I'm currently working on these 3 stars, and I've realized something about the Make Market model modeling clay. This is like clay foam. Is that if you press it onto inkjet paper, it pulls the ink up. So I now have templates without having to trace them over. It's not perfect, but it gives me an idea starting off for size of how to go about it. I literally just took the flat piece and like pressed it into the foam, and that's it. Like I got the imprint up. So can you tell which one I figured this out last with and got the better one? it's a little obvious who's the favorite.
I figure I would jump in while I'm working on the background. So I just want to point out that I've been listening to her sing. I've got it muted now. We're going on probably about an hour because I need that so I can do it on here. And it's just I just left it going. And so right now I'm building up the base here, which are these. I've put on one of my ornaments that I normally make my like Genshin visions out of, to basically build up on here, because I just didn't want to cut another foam puck out. Puck, guys, puck. And so I am using it basically as filler, and so I'm going to be filling in inside here, filling that all up so we can get that design, and then we're going to make the florally bit at the top there. So that's where I'm at. Sorry if it looks a little weird. This is on my drawing tablet. My actual laptop screen's over there, and thank you AlphaGrad for keeping me entertained. So yeah, that's how I'm going about it right now. So we are on this part, but also the front's done. Look at that. Ain't that fancy? So the front is done. I'm literally only doing the back. And if I can get this done before sunset, I am going to prime it tonight. So, because this clay is actually drying in my hands, I keep having to moisten it. So by adding water to this clay, you can like rehydrate it a little bit. Once it gets to an actually solid state, you can't do that anymore. But while I can, I am going to basically keep working at it. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've got like all the handle detailing done, and all the handle detailing down here in the front, and all the stars and whatnot. It will all look much better once it is painted. I promise that much. So it's keep going. Just gotta keep going. It's been about an hour since the last update, and I'm done. Like, I'm done the sculpting. It's all done. I've got down the handle, the extra bevel. Like, it's all done. I am, like, shaking. I am so excited that it's finally done. I've got a little bit of sanding to do on the wings. And then, yeah, it is paint, and we're done. Oh, I'm so ready for this project to be over. Poor Evan just does not stop singing. Oh, poor girl. So I wanted to jump in here for two reasons. So one, I just realized I have the screen up, and you'll see that those like bigger wings, the ones that face upwards, are actually in front. I made this mistake of I accidentally put them behind. One, however, this is turning out pretty nicely with a coat of paint on it. I might try and see if I can bevel down the back a little bit, because these are all foam pieces. I think I might be able to like shift them around a little bit, but I'll see. If not, I really don't care. I'm really liking how this is turning out for something that I started before she even launched, mind you. Secondly, if you're ever in a situation where your shiny metallic paints aren't fully opaque, say like this purple on the back here, you'll see that I've actually done a undercoat of like it's not pure orange, it's like an orangey yellow, and that's actually the base coat before I start putting the gold on top. That allows it to not be as you can't see basically the white underneath, and it gives it basically a background on it. I've done it on every single piece that has the gold. I've shifted the colors ever so slightly so that there is some dimensionality to it. So like this is a little bit more yellow than the underglaze that's on here. Like I gotta redo the black on that part because I got a little bit of the gold on it. Because I don't think I was, I mean up here, this one still needs, mind you, the back still, oh goodness, back still needs a second coat. But you can see like on the top portion here between the two stars, there we go. Between the two stars, this still needs a second coat. So you can kind of tell that like this was white underneath, whereas this is a little bit better off. So yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm going to try and do some detailing on the back of the microphone. That still needs to be painted. These still need to be painted. That needs to be detailed. And then I'll figure out the rest down here later on. So yeah, I kind of wanted to come on here with those 2 points of errors aren't the end of the world, and there are easier ways of painting on metallic paints. So I think the next time you see this, it will be fully painted and fully done. But yeah, that's how it turned out. Also, just another thing, if you want to do a nice gradient like this, I sponge brush, and then I did the darker tip, and then I went back over it. So yeah, sponge brush to get this gradient, because it's a lot smoother on camera than it is in person, but it's still really nice. Kind of replicates that. I think I'm going to darken up the base wings down here a little bit more. Put a little bit of the blue in it because it's just purple right now. And yeah, so I figured I'd jump back in there. Yeah, but the sponge brush is your best friend when trying to blend paints like this. And there we have it. It's all done. Well, just about done. There's a little bit of detailing I want to do, but I am really happy how it turned out. Don't mind the lawnmower. I'm just standing in my backyard to enjoy the sun with it. I got all the metallic finishes done on it. Wings are all done up. I plan on painting the whole purple and eventually. Not gonna get to it right away. But yeah, there we go. Ain't shit pretty. I really love how it turned out. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. Now, sit back, enjoy, and watch the insanity that was my robin pulls. Thank you guys so much for watching, and tune in next time for who knows, because I'm still not entirely sure. Well, let's see if after all my hard work, Robin comes home. That's a nope. Let's try again. 5-star. 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 I don't have a guarantee though. Thank you! Got her!
free the bird from her little cage, I guess. I'm so excited. So that's a great way of ending off making Robin's mic, is pulling Robin and bringing her home. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned because I'm not entirely sure what's coming next. I've got a couple of ideas, but thanks guys.
Quick change of plans. That's a 5-star light cone that also came in. I just pulled on Robin's light cone banner. Like this is the next 10 pull. I did. I wasn't expecting. I guess I have her light cone then too. Okay. Well, I mean, I planned on building her anyways. Okay. It's just gonna. Okay. What? Oh, cool. Boundless Coria. Might be able to use that. Huh? I never have that good of luck. What the heck? What?